Peter Piper, got my eyes on her like sniper. Gonna take a girl like swiper. You won't smoke, then get a lighter. I say, what the heck is you doing? I cannot say the other word. Of my parents are shooting, my fist be pulled. Hey, you don't have fans, yeah, you may be right, sis. Hit your girl like demolition derby.
Yo everybody, Onyx here and welcome back to a brand new video on this channel, and today I am bringing you part 2 of What If Deku Married Supergirl. Jesus Christ, we reached 315 likes in the past 24 hours, which that is mental, which thank you guys so much. And also one last thing, if you guys are not subscribed to this channel, please do, because we're getting super close to 2,000 subscribers, and if you guys can hit that before the end of the year, that would be highly appreciated, because we're getting super close to it as well, which will be a really good milestone to hit before the end of the year, which will be amazing. We've grown 500 subscribers since I started recently uploading on this channel again, which is mental. Thank you all, and hit the like button down below, subscribe, all socials are linked to the description, and see you in a bit. Let's pick off where we last left off with Izuku telling everyone he was quirkless, as Izuku just stared at Izawa with intent, as Izawa just looked back at Izuku wondering what he meant by quirkless. Excuse me, Mr. Midoriya, could you please just repeat yourself? Yeah, I'm quirkless, Izuku said, as everyone in the crowd that was surrounding that very area was very wondering why, how a quirkless person could throw that far. As Izawa asked the question again, young Midoriya, please tell me your right answer or you will be expelled, Izawa said. I'm quirkless. I don't have to say it multiple times, do I, for it to get through your head, Izuku said, as Izawa just looked at him puzzled. Why, as Aizawa's mental state just broke just then and there, as Aizawa just put his hand on Izuku's shoulder. Are you 100% sure you're quirkless? Aizawa said. Yes, I am sure, Izuku said, as most of the students, when Izuku went back into his actual queue, just stared at him. Oddly enough, Izuku just looked back at them. Excuse me, but why are you staring at me? Izuku said to them. We're just very puzzled on how you actually, got into UA when you were quirkless, Mina said, very impersonatingly, I would say, as Izawa just told Mina and everyone else to shut up about him being quirkless, and if any form of bullying were to happen on this school grounds about quirkless people being here, they will be expelled for bullying and form of harassment, Izawa said, as the tally of every single person doing their physical fitness tests would actually come to a close, as Izuku would have managed to get 3rd place, Bakugo in 4th, as everyone else would have got their same scores like Canon, with Momo actually having her boosting confidence unlike the Canon counterparts, with their facing Aizawa in the first year of their classes when they were 15 years of ages. Momo managed to get enough confidence in herself to actually work on her quirk more and get more physical strength, so she would not be that self-conscious as much anymore. As we skip to the end of the day, as Izuku was walking home, as Izuku before he could even leave the school grounds, Izuku was stopped straight away by one of the teachers there, known as Midnight, as Izuku was stopped and pulled over, as Izuku wondered why he was being pulled over like this so suddenly, as Midnight would have told Izuku to come to the principal's office, with Izuku just steadily reclining, wondering why, as Midnight just gave him a straight up answer straight out of the bat. Because Nezu wants to talk to you about your enrollment here, she said. Well, if he wants to talk to me about my enrollment, why don't you just come straight away to here then, Izuku said, as Midnight would have just said, oh, I'm sorry kid, she said, as she knocked him out with her gas quirk. An hour went by in the universe of BMHA, as Izuku was splashed with water on his face as Izuku was sat down on a couch or a settee, as Izuku woke up for a groggy feeling. What do you want? Izuku said. Why did you bring me here? And who are you? Izuku said, as Izuku grogged his way up. We're just wondering, how did you get so strong as a quirkless person first? I trained, Izuku said. Yes, we know that, but how did you train? I don't see it as any of your business, Izuku said to them. As that was enough then. All Might, come here then, All Might said, as All Might walked over to the young boy, in his buff form that he could actually muster that time. as Izuku just said to All Might straight away. If All Might's wondering about his weak form, I'm aware of it. He can debuff. I know he only has 2 minutes left in his buff form anyways, Izuku said to him. How did you? It's pretty obvious, All Might. Remember me? As All Might looked a second glance at Izuku. Hey, you're that kid I told you to give up. As All Might stopped halfway through his sentence, realizing what he just said. Oh shit, All Might said. Yeah, does it realize that you told a kid to give up on his dreams and almost tell him to kill himself when he had suicidal thoughts? Izuku said. As All Might would have had a big shocked expression on his face, as Nezu would have had All Might scolded for his actual actions against Izuku a couple of years ago, as their main conversation would have began as All Might offered Izuku a chance to actually have power of his own, as Izuku would have straight up denied it. All Might, if you're trying to pass a quirk on to me, which is probably yours, don't bother, Izuku said. You're only showing pity on me because you were quirkless beforehand, wasn't you, All Might? Or should I say Toshinori Yagi? Izuku said, as both of everyone in there were shocked. As Izuku would have explained how he actually would be aware of All Might's real name and quirk. As Izuku would have laid out minor details like knowing Supergirl, which is one of the top 10 heroes, after a year of only being on Earth. As Izuku would have explained this, as All Might would have just trembled in fear, knowing that people would know his secret if he wasn't very careful. So what are you gonna do with this information? Well, All Might, if you don't piss me off the way you did beforehand, telling me to give up on my dreams and shit, I'll keep my mouth shut, Izuku said. As All Might would have just agreed on that and told Nezu Ikufi to go. As Nezu would have let him go back home. As we do a little time skip of a couple of hours, Izuku arrived back home to see Kara on the couch, waiting for Izuku to eat. As Izuku sat down on the couch, surprising Kara, as she immediately jumped on him, hugging him tightly. Where have you been, you big meanie? She said. As she would have just given him a quick kiss on the lips. As Izuku would have just replied saying, some assholes from the UA campus wanted me to stay to talk about me being quote-unquote quirkless, she said. What assholes? Yeah, I know, right? Izuku said. As their conversation went on until the next day, where Izuku arrived back into the campus. As everyone else would have had their little dorm rooms and everything, but since Izuku has a choice, Izuku would rather actually have his actual living staying quarters at home instead of just being there. As Izuku arrived back at the UA campus, as Aizawa told everybody who was there to get onto their hero costumes, as we are going to the same facility that we went to last year, a couple of years ago when you guys were still first years at UA High, Aizawa said, as all of the students got excited. We're not getting attacked by villains again, are we? Aizawa said. One of the students said, sorry. As Aizawa retorted saying, hopefully not, but if we do get attacked by villains, we have 2 special guests, Aizawa said. As everyone else was proper excited knowing who we could get. As Araka would say, is it 13 again? Araka said. Actually, yes, but we're also getting 1 more. As Aizawa would have said this, most of the students would be excited, as Izuku would already know who this was because Supergirl, remember? Wink wink. As Izuku and everyone else would have gone to their hero costumes and would have gotten out. If I haven't explained this already, or if I should have, Izuku's hero costume should actually be the picture of what actually should be over the gameplay that's actually playing right now. So this will be Izuku's hero suit as Izuku. As for the people who would pick Clash Rep, same like canon, no difference. As Izuku and everyone else got onto the bus like normal, as they would have saw everyone in their hero suits and their actual places, everyone sat down with the original canons. As this topic of actual discussion about Izuku's, well, you know, quirkless nature would have been brought up by Kirishima. Yo, Midoriya bro, how did you train exactly? he replied, saying, I don't see that in your business, but okay, Izuku said. As Izuku would have just walked in through everything what he knows, but didn't tell anyone about the Kryptonian martial arts or anything like that sorts. As Bakugo would have listened in to every single corner and nickel what Izuku did to train that hard. As Bakugo wrote down on his arm what Izuku did, just so he didn't lose it until the next day. As Izuku would have just gone through what he did, but the moment he saw Bakugo writing down what he did, he stopped talking, and the moment Izuku did stop talking, the bus arrived at the USJ. As Izuku would have got off the bus the same with everyone else, as everyone would have arrived at their original places of where they can go, as Izuku and everyone else would have gone to their similar spots, with Uraka still nerding out because she didn't get enough time to talk to actual 13 unlike canon, as Uraka would have had a decent chat with 13 until 13 holded up two fingers telling people, or telling Izuku and Ozawa, that All Might has reached his limit for those 2 minutes that he had. As we cut back to All Might's point of view, Izuku didn't accept that only means one more person. I'm gonna regret this, as All Might walked off to the third-year classes. As we cut back to Izuku's point of view with everyone else, as Izuku is just waiting around as if the teachers explained what they will be doing today, as until they heard a loud boom at the top of the USJ, glass shattering above. I am here, she said, shouting as Kara crashed down. As all the girls in that main area were freaking out, seeing the number 5 most liked hero. But in the top rankings, she is number 8, Supergirl. Oh my god, it's Supergirl, Mina said, shouting out loud. As most of the girls rushed to her, but Aizawa stopped them with his scarf. Everyone listen, or you will be kicked out of the USJ event and you won't be able to concede with it, Aizawa said. As most of the students started to listen but still stared at Kara, as everyone else would have had the similar experiences like canon, with everyone going to their same places and everything else, until Aizawa heard a portal open at the bottom of the USJ. Hello again, Shigaraki said menacingly. Shigaraki opened the portal as far as it could go. As this portal opened as wide as it could go, as villains flooded out more than canon, as Shigaraki would have just said, everyone, kill them! As Shigaraki, unless he didn't notice, he noticed Supergirl 2 minutes later into the conversation. I'll deal with these quick as possible, Supergirl said, as she rushed through, tabling and T-posing them all down to the ground and out for the count. She dealt with them all in a matter of seconds. Unlike All Might, he dealt with them like a couple of minutes, but just remember, Kryptonians are a lot stronger than what you think they are. Just remember, literally Superman can literally turn back time with the Earth, man. Just remember that, fam. As Kira, or Supergirl, would have just turned all of those little villains from alive to unconscious. You thought I was going to say kill, didn't you? YouTube's not cooking me over. As Izuku would have just said, whoa, so cool, Izuku said in mental state. As Izuku would have just stared at the big behemoth in the middle, with sharp razor teeth, body looking like it's agile, with big muscular bones speaking out of its body with brain exposed. As Izuku would have saw this and shouted at Kara, Supergirl, watch out for that monster, Izuku said, shouting. As Izuku would have just gone through everything what had happened. As Izuku would have just gone back with everyone else until the Black Portal Man showed up. Ah shit, Izuku said. As everything would have happened like canon, with everyone being spread around the main USJ building vicinity, as everyone would have gone to their same places, until Kara would have noticed Izuku disappeared. You bastard, she said, as she charged max capacity she could with strength, punching the big behemoth as he absorbed it. We learned from our last experiences. You're not gonna kill him, Shigaraki said, as Shigaraki would have just thrown and chased at Supergirl. But the moment he did, however, Supergirl uppercutted him, sending him at the top of the USJ building, sending his head straight in, making Shigaraki dangle. If you guys seen where this was from, it's from One Punch Man. If you guys have seen episode 3 of One Punch Man when he's trying to get his license to heroism, as Kara saw Izuku on a boat ready to jump off and go get him, but she knew she had to deal with this behemoth first, as she charged right at it, punching it with her farthest punch she can do. The Nomu absorbed the first one, but the second one broke the Nomu into pieces, scattering it across the USJ, breaking it apart, disintegrated at the touch. As Tsuyu and Mineta managed to actually help Izuku out with this plan, as they all escaped from harm, as Shigaraki had to be teleported away and healed by Kurogiri. After these events at the USJ, Izuku had to be forced into the actual protective program of UA High School, basically the dorm system. As Izuku was very testimony at first about it, but Izuku couldn't say no to Kara with her cute parrot eyes. As Izuku just said, "Fine then, Kara, okay?" Izuku said, giving her a peck on the lips, making her blush frankly. As Izuku arrived at the place where he should have gone, as Izuku arrived there, most of the students stared at him, and Izuku just went straight up to his room. As we do a 2-week time skip to the actual sports festival event, everything would have gone like canon. Izuku would still get #1 place thanks to his intelligence increasing. Izuku's stuttering everything in front of girls would change drastically. Izuku's been living with Kara for almost 2 years, so of course Izuku would have a really good mental capacity towards females. As for the first event, Izuku would actually pass it with flying colors. The second event, Izuku's teammates would be consist of Matsume, Hatsume, Oraka, Ida, and that's it basically. Ida would be more helpful towards Midoriya because he is a fellow classmate and class rep. So Ida wants to be more protective of Izuku thanks to him being quirkless. Ida thinks he's a lot weaker than him, so Ida wants to protect him just as much as Oraka. As Izuku's actual event would have gone the same like canon. Izuku's 1 million headband would be touched slightly by Todoroki. With Izuku's martial arts skills, Izuku would flip Todoroki onto his back, sending him flying back into his teammates, making their teammates fall off balance until the actual bell rang. Izuku still keeps his 1 million headband, while most of the teammates would have lost, as everything would have gone like canon for the original. Hatsume, everyone else would have gone into the same battles like Seireisol, as the first battle of the actual event would be Izuku versus Shinso, as Izuku and Shinso's fight would have gone similar to canon, with Izuku flipping on his back, knocking him out. As for the second fight, everyone else would have gone the same. Bakugo, Todoroki, everyone else would have won. As to the next rounds of fighting, Todoroki would have an advantage against Midoriya through raw strength and power with his quirk, but Izuku would prove that wrong, as Izuku threw a barrage of punches the moment the ice hit him, as the ice would have been splitting half by just a slight touch. As Izuku used the first bit of the advantage the moment Todoroki felt slow, as Izuku decked Todoroki, making sure his arms and legs were separated to make sure he couldn't conjure anything, as Izuku got Todoroki in a chokehold, trying to make him use his fire or anything like that, as Izuku would have been forcing Todoroki out until Todoroki passed out from the lack of oxygen going to his brain, so he just passed out from lack of oxygen. As for the next rounds of fighting, everything would have gone similar. Bakugo would have won. Everything would have gone similar. As for Momo, she would have won that round with her, as she went on to fighting Bakugo. As Momo would have had her ass handed to her a little bit bruised, a broken bone in her left arm. But still though, she would have had a good enough fight with Bakugo to the point Bakugo's arms will start be hurting. As the final rounds would begin, as Izuku was fighting Bakugo and Bakugo was fighting Izuku. As their fight would have gone insanely different, with Izuku not having one for all in this timeline. Izuku had to rely on his physical speed and strength alone, as Izuku was throwing fury after punch, trying to get near Bakugo without him moving out the way. As Izuku got near one more time, as his final punch collided with Bakugo's face, breaking his inner jaw and leaving him in a furious amount of pain. As Bakugo tried to get back up onto his feet, but still he struggled and struggled to get back up. As Bakugo leaped forward to Izuku, with Izuku dodging out of the way and punching Bakugo straight into the stomach, doing a furious roundhouse kick to his head, knocking Bakugo clean out. As everyone was really surprised of what Izuku just did, thinking Izuku cheated, that everyone else would have just cheered, while one of the teachers would have just said, "Round over, Bakugo wins," as everyone in the crowd was booing at President Mike, as one of the people in the audience had a gun quirk, fired it straight at the glass window. "Oi, fuck you! That student won without using his quirk. He clearly won," one of the people in the shouted at him, as President Mike just said, "Oh, sorry, we got false information. Izuku Midori, you won." As Bakugo would have said, "Fuck off, I won fair and square." As Bakugo threw an explosion at the audience. As before Bakugo could even fire another one, Izuku caved in Bakugo's skull at the side. As Izuku went, "Oh shit," as a loud explosion would have been heard on the ground. As Izuku covered his body as much as he could. As Izuku's furious blow of explosion that was fired at him would have collided, Izuku was claimed back to a wall. As the couple of hours went by, as Izuku woke up in the infirmary, as Izuku wondered where he was, as Kara, also known as Supergirl, would have just comforted him, saying everything was okay and nothing to worry about, she said with a big round smile on her face. As Izuku would have just wondered what would happen to him, with a very scowled expression. "Oh, him? Oh, don't worry, he's having a big scalding, and plus he probably has brain damage for how hard you kicked him," he said. "He deserves it, the thick twat," Izuku said, acting like a British man. "Teen crumpets, my guy." "Don't worry, I am British, I'm not racist." Izuku, my guy. As Izuku went home that day with a broken arm and a cast, as Izuku went back to the actual main area of where he was staying with his entire class so he could heal. As he went back, Izuku had entire stares at the class. "Oh, don't stare at me like that. Bakugo deserved it. If I didn't stop him when he did, he would have had a lot worse injuries," Izuku said. As most of the class there was just staring at him. "You didn't have to cave his skull in though, did you?" one of the students said, shouting out loud, this being Kirishima. As Kirishima just walked up to him saying, "You didn't have to cave his skull in at the side. He probably has brain damage now." "Well, it would probably be worth it," Izuku said, acting like a complete asshole to Kirishima. "Do you know if I was actually had a quirk, a powerful one of that, we won't be having this conversation, would we?" Izuku said. As Kirishima would just shut his mouth, knowing he was in the wrong of that. As Izuku walked off back to his actual area of the actual apartment complex the students lived in. As Izuku laid down on his bed, as Izuku fell asleep that same day. As a couple of hours later, Izuku woke up with a sweat on. As Izuku looked at the time, as it said 4 AM. As Izuku was wondering why the hell it was this early and why the hell he wake up so suddenly, until Izuku looked at the window to see Kara standing there. As Izuku opened the window, as she instantly jumped at him. "Izuku," she said, jumping and hugging at him. "As what? I put in a representation and a recommendation to you to come to my agency," she said, smiling at him with a 20-gigawatt smile that could melt anyone's heart into oblivion. As Izuku just walked around, wondering his bedroom. As Izuku would have just told her that he'd be going to her agency no matter what she even said. As Izuku would have just told her this, as she would have just smiled at his actual resolve. As Izuku and Akara both shared a cuddling night that same night. As 3 days passed, Izuku arrived at school, as they all got their representations. Izuku looked at his, only having 5. Izuku wondered, since he won the sports festival, why did he only get 5? As Izuku brought this to Iwasawa's attention. "Well, Midori, you're quirkless, so that's probably why. You get it short and sweet. like everything else. Thank you all for watching this video, and if you guys like to see more of this type of videos in the future, please let me know in the comment section down below. And by the way, the time of this ending of recording, we're on 1.6 thousand subscribers. If you guys can just surpass that and get to 2K by the end of the month, that'll be highly appreciated. Thank you all for watching, and see you later, bros.